Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Tuesday, December 30th Select Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first announcement I'd like to make is that this meeting was posted to be in the banquet, to be on the second floor in the town administrator's office. However, due to a change in venue, we posted on each doorway and at the stairway that this meeting will take place in the banquet hall. We also have someone posted in the hallway to redirect anyone to come into the banquet hall for the meeting. So I apologize if there's any confusion, but hopefully we meet the open meeting law requirements by doing that. So if not, we'll get another open meeting law complaint. So anyway, I also want to state that this meeting is being video and live streamed, videotaped and live streamed. Secondly, I want to thank the highway department and all their personnel for the sleepless nights they've had recently. They're out every night, early in the morning, late at night, and definitely being sleep deprived to keep the roads safe, and what a good job I think they're doing. Number one on the agenda, to waive attorney-client privilege for confidential emails from town council to the select board. I think they were more specifically that they talked about the GPS units. So I would entertain a motion for these dates if the board is comfortable with that. The big reason that these are on there is there has been a request for the information by an individual, and I feel like it's transparent to let them go out.
I'll make a motion to waive the emails dated 1/7/19, 1/8/19, and 8/28/2025.
I'll second that. I'll give you another minute, Beth.
Yeah, thank you. These look like two totally separate topics.
Yeah, I would say they are, but they were still.
Were they all requested explicitly?
I believe that's how it came in, but Jake, can you elaborate on that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they are different topics, but they were both requested by the.
Okay, by the
Yeah.
individual that's
Correct.
requesting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
I don't see any need to withhold that,
No. So,
so, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. All right, we're gonna pass over the Cumberland Farms issue. I believe they're working on that, and they have until beyond our next meeting to get it squared away, so we're just gonna pass on that. So, number three, the update on treasurer status. Does anyone have anything?
I haven't heard back from Oakland yet.
Okay.
Okay, so the only update I have is I spoke with Rossetti CPAs because they have some capability to provide treasury services. The challenge is they're a national firm and they have limited capacity right now, and their primary people that do it would not be available until February at the earliest because of either business-related travel or other commitments that they have to other communities. If they were available, we would be looking at between $190 and $320 an hour is what the current rate is for the Treasury services. So that being said, I did want to share some conversations that I had with Brenda, if that's okay with you, Brenda. Is that there's a capacity concern that Brenda has that I feel is a legitimate capacity concern. And one of the things I would have put on the table is we have not historically done a really good job of supporting the concept that we need people to back up the existing positions to allow for vacations and coverage when people have time off. And there was some confusion over eligibility for senior work off and other things that have contributed to there not being a lot of backup support in the tax, or not the tax collector, but the general collector position, because we changed the general collector a couple years back, correct? So, however, given the spot we're in, if we have no other alternatives, right, Brenda is willing to take on the interim role just to give us the coverage to have somebody on the bank accounts and be able to transact business, right? But we need to figure out how to get enough bandwidth to support all of the functions. The good news is the tax bills just went out, right? So at least we're beyond that particular threshold, but people will start coming back in. So one of the things I think we ought to take under consideration, because I know HR is in a quote-unquote real position according to our bylaws anyway, but what historically we had was municipal clerks that supported either the Treasury office or the collector, or in some instances, way back years ago, both. Is that I wanted to see if we want to take a look at, if we wind up really back against the wall, accepting Brenda's generous offer to at least get on it for the accounts that she may not already be on, because I think she said she's on Unibank and Hometown, which I don't know what we cut our like payroll checks out of. Like I've never delved into the details in the financial department. I know that's two of our bigger accounts, right? And Sharon is still available to us to get, if there's a critical account that Brenda's not on, we could potentially get her on that account while Sharon is still technically here, right? But I think what we will need to do, and maybe it's not in this meeting because we only put an update of the treasurer's status, we may need a working level meeting that says what can Brenda do, what could be back trained, and one of my thoughts is that I'm presuming we classified AJ as a general purpose municipal clerk since we don't have something in the bylaws as HR. If we didn't classify her that way, then my recommendation would be that we post for a municipal clerk for backup to back up on the financial aspect with both treasurer collector. And start cross-training her into that role, even though we can interview and pursue other applicants, okay? And that will put us in a position, she says she has some flexibility in some hours, because she says that she's been able to work around some of her other commitments.
Who are you speaking about?
AJ.
Okay.
Right? If we can come up with, if we can sort it through, get her online with either working with Sharon or working directly with Harper's to learn the payroll side of it. She's done a really good job of setting up like the online like onboarding packages, and there's been a couple of other things that she's already been working with Harper's on, getting our personnel records uploaded into their system, that sort of thing. I think there's an opportunity there where perhaps we haven't leveraged some of the work that she's both capable and willing to pursue, and this might be an opportunity to get Brenda some help in the tax collector office, but at the same time have her help us out on the treasury side just to close the gap so that we don't wind up gapped on access to the accounts, ability to run payroll, and that sort of thing. So Those are the only two conversations that I've had. I did get one referral of a retiree from the folks at Rossetti, because it's such a small community that he's willing to give away the work because they know that we probably don't want to pay their price. It's a person by the name of Jane Lapardo, but she hasn't gotten back to me yet. She's a little bit closer into Boston, but he said that she has occasionally taken up interim work.
I think she lives on the South Shore.
Yeah.
I know Jane, she's
Yeah,
fantastic, but
yeah. But it would be a stretch just because of the geography, so.
Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's
Oh.
what I've heard about her from them, is that she's really quite amazing. But I'm hoping if not, she might know somebody that's farther out this way. And
down by like Quincy, it's a haul.
yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. So, but I was trying to at least pursue that and potentially get a lead. And I also reached out because James Dunbar stepped back from some of the work that he was doing in his town, and I'm trying to reach out to him and see if he might be willing to come back for a period of time as well.
So,
And I'm sorry.
yeah, from now on.
I was just finishing on
From
one.
now on, I would, Brenda, if you want to speak, I have no problem, but I'd like you to come up, and so Beth, let's try to
Oh, yeah,
keep
I
that
apolo-
going.
I
So,
apologize.
no big deal. But
Yep.
Lori, do you mind coming up?
So, James Dunbar, he's fully retired.
Okay.
Was not able to track him down.
Okay, I talked to the treasurer there, and she
Melissa,
said that
yep.
that he's still working for the town. I don't know in what
He's,
capacity.
he's kind of doing oversight, but he is considered himself
Really
full-fledged
full-
retired.
retired.
That was for the town of Princeton.
Yeah.
I reached out to the state at the beginning of last week. They were, at one point, started a collection of retirees that they could plop into towns in an interim basis. Unfortunately, everyone at the state is off this week, so I haven't heard back from Deb Wagner yet. I reached out to her and Jared Curtis. Jared had given me a name of someone else to reach out to at the beginning of the month. I did reach out to this gentleman. His name's Jared Mullane. He does more on the accounting side, less on the treasurer side, because he doesn't like to come into towns. He'll only do cash reconciliations. He said if we get into a pinch and we need a cash reconciliation, he'd be happy to help, but he doesn't do day-to-day treasurer work. I talked to Sarah Hunter. She's out straight. She said she could give us an interim proposal, but she charges $175 an hour. But she doesn't know that she'd have anyone with ability to be in town. But that's where she is right now. I did talk to Brenda this morning briefly before we started. So the biggest hurdle we have now is by law, we have to have a treasurer on the books. You have to have someone bonded and with their name as the treasurer. So Brenda is our only option after next Friday if we don't have anyone, because someone has to be fully bonded and put their name down as interim treasurer. The other issue we have is we don't have anyone here that knows how to do payroll. It's not as easy as just calling Harper's and asking them to walk you through it, especially with the amount of employees we have. To get us out of a bind, my company has offered to supply a payroll-only person at a per-hour charge, and it's not $175 an hour. It's just be a nominal charge per hour. The person is completely separate of me, so it is legal. We've done it in other towns before where towns have gotten into a bind. That person will process the payroll only, and then in the end could train someone
Yeah, well,
on how to do payroll, because that's all she does for us is just payroll.
I would only be on board with that if we focus on the training aspect of it, that from day one, we're training somebody to back that up.
Well, we have to have someone to train, right?
Yeah.
So, because the issue we have is we're doing payroll tomorrow, and then after that, Sharon's gone next week. So we don't have anyone we can be training with Sharon tomorrow. Plus, with the way the schedule ended up, Sharon and I are going to be doing payroll in 4 hours tomorrow morning.
So what time are you all starting on payroll?
We start at 7, and because of the way the schedule ended up with the town hall, we have 4 hours to get the payroll done. So it's not an ideal situation to be training anyone tomorrow.
What do you mean, the schedule with the town hall?
everyone is out tomorrow. So we have, we need to be back, we're going to be back out the door by noon.
Well, I think that
Well, I
Holly,
mean-
I think Holly said that she, I don't know, did she say she was gonna stay?
I mean, we all have
And
keys,
there's
we have
the-
keys
I mean,
to the building ourselves,
can
but
stay if
we
we
didn't
have to.
plan on spending an entire day
Okay.
So
either.
basically, to train someone on a day you're gonna be here short is not
No.
ideal, right? I mean,
No.
it's gonna,
Not at all.
training someone is gonna slow you down.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be training someone on a holiday week when you're trying to get back out
Sure.
the door.
Okay.
Especially when it's unanticipated that we're going to have someone sitting there training.
So Brenda, can you tell me, do you mind coming up and then you can stay like that. Do you mind telling me specifically what you're willing to volunteer to help out with? Just so I have a clear understanding, and what you're able to do.
From what I gather, I believe I'm the super user on
Yes.
Pay in hometown, so I
Okay.
can transfer money and at least continue to get people paid. And
We'd have to
With
put your
help.
name on all the bank accounts before Sharon left anyways.
So you wouldn't necessarily be doing the payroll, but you'd be doing the
Absolutely
transactions? Okay, all right, so,
Yeah.
okay, I don't
Yeah.
mean to, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, and I appreciate you helping out, but I
can
just
muddle
wanted,
along and
I want to know
do the best I can.
just clearly what you
I
would be.
have taken probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 treasurer classes. But unless you're doing the job
Oh, yeah,
day to day,
sure,
Well, like I said, I would need Brenda to cut the vendor checks
okay,
every other Tuesday. She'd have to cut the checks because that's one of the functions. I can't be touching the vendor checks. She'd have to cut the checks, print them. We'd change the signature to be her signature in the software, and then she could give them to her senior workers to stuff the checks. That is allowed. If you wanted to use a senior worker, you could do that. She'd have to transfer the money between the bank accounts to fund our payroll and our vendor checks. And then just balancing the cash and then taking all of the cash deposits outside of the tax payments, the cash deposits that come in from departments and from the school out of the lockbox or that are handed to her, taking them to the bank, depositing them, and then entering the deposits into Vadar.
okay.
And then I can help her with the balancing of the cash every month, because we just use an Excel cash book. So it's just entering the deposit she makes into our Excel.
And
But we're
you're-
caught up till November anyways.
And you're proficient with the Vadar based on the
on the collector
yeah,
side, sure.
yeah, okay.
On our
Yeah,
side,
so
she doesn't
I'm sure
use
there'll be
it.
a learning
Okay,
curve,
then.
but, yeah,
Vadar's pretty
Yes.
user-friendly, so,
okay.
and I'm familiar with Excel, obviously, so.
Wow, well, thank you very much, yeah. Any other questions?
No.
I think the biggest question I have is, what would be the hourly rate of an associate from our office that we could,
I can get that from
Okay.
my boss.
yeah, I think that would be important to know that, and how long they'd
Could I-
be willing to fill in. Go ahead, Brendan.
If like what Beth was saying, and we can utilize AJ to do more of my hours in my office, I could possibly do more
Mhm.
treasurer.
Yeah.
I think when we hired AJ, we called her a seasonal worker.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, we
Yep.
need to post a municipal clerk position. And that municipal clerk position would be shared between the treasury and collector office. So we did hire her as a seasonal worker,
Yep.
because we didn't think she was gonna hit the hours threshold
Right.
required, right? I think with regards to the municipal clerk work, right, there's no reason why a lot of what we classified under the seasonal worker, for HR couldn't fall under a municipal clerk position fundamentally, because if they were working for the treasurer office, they would likely do a bunch of that benefit work. So I think it's a good segue.
Do we even need to change the title based on?
Yes, we do, because
se-
she's seasonal, and seasonal, you have very specific limitations on how long they can be in that role.
Yeah,
And so rather than running up against that, I think what's smarter would be for us to post that municipal clerk position, have that backup bandwidth for both the treasurer and collector office. We've already established that the HR stuff it's cyclic, right? So open enrollment come April, one of the biggest concerns I have is that open enrollment for this particular field is in April, right? So she'd be running out of hours under her seasonal work right at the time when somebody who needs to know how we set up all of the onboarding and all of the signups and all of the election stuff would actually be leaving. So we'd be setting ourselves up for failure in the future unless we happen upon that unicorn treasurer that already like loves HR and wants that extra portion of the work, right? Which in this environment, I don't think is a bet I want to put my money on, right? I don't think she's gotten necessarily a lot of direction about what to do, but in talking to her, it sounds like she took some pretty good initiative in setting up the onboard gateway so that people can sign themselves up in Harper's. She's gone through and she's clarified like who's active associates and who's inactive in the manual files. I think honestly with just a little bit of like guidance and direction, she could really help the town out and grow in her skill set in the municipality, and that is the work that she wants to do eventually. So my recommendation would be in support of the treasurer's office that we post a municipal clerk position. She'll have to apply like everybody else. There may be somebody that comes by that's more qualified. If that happens, it happens, right? But, you know, that would be my recommendation in the route, to make sure that we, you know, then it would be up to Brenda on what portions of her work she wants to train AJ on, who will relieve some of her burden there so that she can focus more on the treasury work during the interim period. And we can kind of go from there. I think it's a great opportunity for both us and for her to help each other out, basically. And I did talk to her. She is willing. She's been. She says that she could absolutely take on some other tasks in either the hours that she has right now, and potentially help out Brenda.
So what does she need to do? What class would she need to take to serve as your assistant? Yeah.
I would take the new financial officials and then the one, like the treasurer collector one-on-one classes.
Yeah. Are they online or are they?
The new financial one is online, and then the other ones are in August and March. Yeah.
Classes and emails in August are well worth the money.
Yeah.
They're cheap for what you get.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
The first year classes are very beneficial.
Yeah.
Even if she doesn't go to get fully certified for the 3 years, just the first year classes are huge. Yes.
Yeah. So that might be great. And like you said, she can take the online class first, so she at least gets a good orientation,
Yep.
right? And then go from there. So,
And then all the payroll training that my company can provide is just, we can do it all, she'll do it all via Zoom.
oh yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, because Nicole, the employee from my company, she lives further towards the Cape, so she'll just do everything online.
Right, and for right now, we won't need another seat in Vadar because we don't have a treasurer, so we have enough seats.
And Brenda has a spare seat anyways,
Okay,
so,
perfect.
yeah,
Okay, so that's even better.
yeah, we just kept the extra seat just in case.
Yeah. Good plan.
Yeah.
Good plan, so.
But she can poke around and start training herself on there, just as we do.
Yeah.
And get familiar with what's in
Yeah.
there and what have you.
Yeah.
So, that'd be perfect. So, great.
All right.
I'll give you a cost and I'll email it over, it's just a per hour though.
Thank you, Brenda.
Do you want me
Thanks,
to post
Laura.
for the municipal clerk, and if so, how much and how many hours?
Brendan, what kind of hours do you need for backup support in the collector's office?
Ideally, I'd like coverage when I want to take vacation, so.
So I would say, I would put it down, my recommendation would be 10 to 19, depending on seasonal workload.
It is very
Yeah.
hit and miss, you know, because in February, when I have to send out 5,000 size bills, it gets really busy.
I would put it as 10 to
10 to
19.
19, depending on the seasonal workload, what about a wage?
But ideally, I'd like to train her to be able to log in, do everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be your call as you work with her, so long as you feel that she has the proficiencies that you need for your backup. I think that's up to you relative to how you use your clerk. So, but that would at least put you in a position to be able to deal with the cash reconciliation. What I don't wanna have us happen is have us be so far behind, have us get behind like we have other times, right? We don't wanna go down that road at all, so that would be my thought, is just to have that flex, right? Posted as 10 to 19 from a wage rate. Anybody?
I think
I
Lois
see.
is 22, I think, Lois makes, and she's been here for many years.
I think the problem that I see with it is the use would be so frequently to post to 10 to 19.
What do you mean so infrequently? I mean, first
Well,
of
I
all,
think right now-
right now,
I
yeah.
think right now, we could use someone probably 40 hours, right? Or close to it while they're training. But as things get going, if Brenda takes a vacation, that's when they gotta work 30 to 32 hours a week, right? But do you need them in between your vacations, other than maybe for stuff in envelopes?
It would be nice, but I think.
Well, that's why it's gonna be
Hold on,
shared.
I wanna hear what.
Right, but I just wanna make sure we're talking about the right thing though, Rich. Okay?
I get it.
I understand your question. The intent was to have somebody trained to back up in both departments, potentially at least able to do payroll, so even once we have a treasurer, if they take a vacation the wrong day of the week or are out sick, that we have somebody that can do it. And when you add up two different departments, like vacations or time off or other requirements, I mean, we could talk about what Brenda needs, but we also need to talk about what would the potential treasurer need in terms of if we only have a part-time treasurer, right? Historically, we've done closer to 32 hours. Sharon managed to do it in, roughly 16 to 19, but there were some weeks, I'm sure it was more than that. Okay? Is that there's some real needs there that if you have somebody who's gonna be strict to a 16 or 19 hour week in treasurer, that there's some offload there and stuff that hasn't happened. I don't know how long it's been since we did tax title, that sort of thing.
We're doing tax title.
Okay.
We do it consistently.
Okay, all right. But let's just make sure we're talking about, we can talk about what Brenda needs, but we'll also need to really understand what the treasury space needs are as well. So before we say there's not gonna be 19 hours, I just wanna make sure we specify we're talking about two departments.
I do understand the two departments. Okay.
I want to make it clear though, then if we're gonna post 19 hours, then we're not gonna give it, we're taking it away from AJ. How many hours does AJ work now? She can't work, she's gonna be benefited over the 20 hours,
It says up to, right?
but she has a current job. So those are together, even though they're two separate jobs.
I think maybe I wasn't clear. This municipal clerk role would include, potentially include the HR work.
I think we have that one, I think we did that one up to 12, 8 to 12 or something like that.
Right.
So you want HR, payroll, and to back the two of them up between the 10 and 19 hours. Correct?
Correct.
What, Brenda?
But we can't, because it was a seasonal, we have to, unfortunately, we have to post, okay? So, and we have the option, if we found somebody who was like the super mega person for just the treasurer collector backup worksheet, we could just leave AJ in the seasonal role in HR benefits, right? But the right way to do this would be to post a municipal clerk position, flexing anywhere from 10 to 19 hours, right, depending on volume. We're not guaranteeing them 19 hours, you're saying that whatever work is there to get done is what you'll get scheduled to get done. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, one more question for you, Brenda. I know you had an arrangement with the treasurer that when you were away, she would step in for you. When she was away, you helped out. Was that working?
No.
Okay. How
And I
come?
appreciate you. Well.
Just because she couldn't give enough
She's got
time?
one day a week and she stops straight anyway, but it just, yeah. I people like somebody in the office. You know, even when I did have the clerk for a little while, she was, when I did take an extended vacation, she worked, I think, 10 to 2. But it was enough where every day there was somebody in there. And people okay with that. I was still hoping a remote labor, but it worked.
My concern, and I'll be frank, is just watching government grow and grow and grow, and that's my concern. So I understand we're in a pinch right now, and we need someone now, but if Brenda just needs someone for a week in the summer and a week in the fall, it's hard for us to, you know, however many you get, right?
15 years old, take it 1 to 2 weeks off.
Oh, so, but you see my point, just, even if it's 4 or 5 weeks, to me, it's hard to have someone fill a position 10 to 20 hours a week when they're needed, we'll say 5 weeks to assist you, and then a few weeks a year to assist the treasurer. So that's my concern. I just don't, I know we need some help right now, but I just don't want to cement it in that it's a long-term person.
And also.
But she's gonna make it, we're trying to make it long-term, because the person would do HR though, and benefits though,
Right.
so that would be, but, I don't know, I'm not saying I'm against it, I would just like more thought process, I guess, of what they're actually gonna do, like.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we need to sit down.
And come out with a detailed plan of like what we want this municipal clerk to do.
I would say that's 100% accurate. I think part of it needs to be a working meeting with Brenda, with Lori, with myself or yourself, right?
Yeah.
Sitting down and saying, okay, of the duties across the treasurer and the collector, I 100% agree with you that we do need to define it better. I don't think we need to define it better to post it. I think we do need to define it
No.
better to do the interviews and explain to people what the job description is really gonna be. I don't think we should wait to post it in order to define that. I think there's certain things we can definitely define within it.
I'm on board with posting it, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just,
Okay.
I just want to make it clear that if we have the need for it, then yes, but I'm cautious about watching government just continue to grow. So that's all.
I
And
just,
I agree. So yeah, and I'm for posting it, I'm okay with posting it now.
We have a municipal clerk job description, which doesn't really include a lot of the things that they need. So how do you want me to post it?
So can I ask why we're calling it a municipal clerk if they're gonna work in the treasurer collector office? Why is it called the treasurer collector clerk? Or treasurer
well,
collector
let me pull up my copy of the bylaws and see what we have on the books.
Yeah, cause it has to be on the bylaw, right?
That's the problem. So the only.
So what was your clerk prior, I remember you had a clerk
She
at
was
one
the
time.
collector's assistant.
Clerk's assistant,
We still
So
have
that's-
it in the bylaw.
So,
I'm sure.
so the,
Yeah, we have a treasurer's assistant too,
well,
unless we drop stuff.
no, we don't. So this is the problem that we have right now. Well, but here's what we have, okay? What we just have is generic clerks, okay? So it could be, so generic clerk is just clerk. It doesn't say financial clerk, it doesn't say municipal clerk,
Yeah,
it just
just
says
clerk.
clerk, okay? Then we have administrative assistants,
Mhm.
okay? And those are really the only two roles that we have that it fits, but by having it be general clerks and general administrative assistant, okay, there's a lot of leeway with regards to what we can put in both that specific person's job description and the online posting.
Yeah, cause you could say senior clerk, municipal clerk,
Correct.
yeah.
So in this case, I would probably post it as a financial clerk, or financial and benefits clerk.
Yeah,
Right, so I'd probably post it as,
Finance.
as clerk, finance and HR, or something along those lines. Yeah, I think finance and HR would be
Yeah.
good, right? And, just post it for that 10 to 19 hours range, right? In terms of pay, I think that's where it's a little bit tricky. I know Lois is only at 22, but.
And I know that Lois, and she would never say anything because she's the same. But I know sometimes it does bother her. She's been here for many years and new people are being hired for more than what she's making or just about what she's making, so. I don't know how you justify that, but.
Well, I think we're probably overdue for doing another wage survey just townwide, but that's a story for another day, right? We can't talk that in the context of this, but can we put it on the agenda? for a future agenda of a survey.
We have to ask
What are
them.
your thoughts
We have to
on
ask them.
I'm making a request.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. It's hard.
I think
But the HR and the benefits part, it's hard.
put it 10 to 25 depending on experience.
20 to 25?
Yeah, 20 to 25 depending on experience,
Yeah.
So that's fair.
right?
You go with that?
I mean, that's a legitimate range that will come into negotiating whatever they're gonna negotiate.
Yeah, and it's just a clerk for the 19 hours. So I would say yeah, for less than 19.
So financial.
20 to 25.
20 to 25
Yeah,
dollars.
pay range, yeah, 20
Okay.
to 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Lloyd? Beth, you good? Sarah? So, I think we're done with item number 3 and we're on to number 4.
Okay, I'll make a motion for us to move into executive session under exemption 1 to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual, and to not, and that we will adjourn from the executive session, not to reconvene in regular session.
Shaky eye.
Campbell, I.
Oh, we should,
Second.
well, I'll second.
Oh, second, yeah.
Yep, I'll second that. And any discussion? All in favor?
Call 9.
Campbell, I.
Shaky eye.
Quick question.